Greetings, this is Fanny back on the 2nd of May, approaching Odisha landfall as a severe cyclonic storm, and now we've got another one, and it is Vayu on the other side of India, heading in. Here is the view of Vayu from earlier today from the Terra Modis satellite. The center of the storm is about there. The storm, of course, is rotating like this, and you can see that there's a lot of dust coming off Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran area. Here is the latest infrared loop. The storm is beginning to struggle a bit, probably due to land interaction and maybe some effect of all that dust. We've got a big thunderstorm development over Gujarat, and you can see the general movement of the storm sort of almost beginning to parallel the coast. Here is the latest JTWC forecast from a few hours ago, and they had it at 90 knots, which makes it a Category 2 hurricane strength system, and you can see the track is just maintaining it just offshore of Gujarat, but coming precariously close. Conditions are generally favorable in terms of sea surface temperature and wind shear, but the issue with the storm is land interaction coming at an angle. There's a lot of land interaction and all that dust too. The latest satellite-based intensity estimates looks like it is beginning a slight weakening trend. Although the storm is looking quite ragged, it is maintaining a quite tight core, and there are some bursts maintaining quite very deep convection over the central core. If it's beginning to sound like I'm not exactly sure what the hell is going on here, then that is indeed the case. But here we have the GFS, so let's get to the models. At least I can blame the models for being wrong if I'm wrong. Right, so it makes landfall in Gujarat, according to the GFS, at 946 millibars. So the GFS is indicating some intensification just prior to landfall. The ECMWF is taking it up to the coast and then moving it to the left, as we saw in the JTWC forecast. So the ECMWF is just avoiding landfall in this forecast. The Indian Meteorological Agency are suggesting that the storm will make landfall and cross the Gujarat coast as a very severe cyclonic storm between Dwarka and Veeravel. So it's clear there is a slight disagreement between the Indian Meteorological Department and the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. This is the Joint Typhoon Warning Center keeping it offshore, but either way, there is this coastline of Gujarat that is already feeling and going to feel more and more so the effects of this storm. If the storm does make landfall as a very severe cyclonic storm, it will be the rough equivalent of a Category 2 strength hurricane landfall. So we can look at the types of damages expected in the absolute worst parts of the storm, and it suggests some shallow-rooted trees uprooted and some roofs lost to houses. So it all depends on whether this actually makes landfall or not, and whether there is any final intensification or whether this storm is going to weaken, and I do not know the answer to those questions. One thing we can say with confidence is that there will be very large waves impacting this coastline of Gujarat, and in terms of the most likely impacted towns, at least on this map, I've got Porbandar and Dwarka here, and both of these are potentially in the path of the storm, depending on whether it makes that landfall or not. Other towns potentially in the landfall or near landfall include Miyani, Lamder, Bogat, Kuranga, Okamadi. So unfortunately that's all I've got time for. I apologize for the uncertainty. This is a very tricky forecast because of the possibility that the storm stays offshore or makes landfall, or we don't quite know yet, and it's a close call, and the intensity is also an uncertainty. So stay very closely tuned over the next several hours to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center and the Indian Meteorological Department for any changes in intensity and track.